We got a lot of injury updates to talk about on today's show. Mike McDaniel spoke to the media for the first time since the bye week, and he provided updates on Austin Jackson, Darren Waller, James Daniels, and Jason Sanders. There's a lot of good news. There's also some bad news. We'll get through it all on today's show. I am Nick Roloff. We'll start with the good news. Why not always start with the positives? Austin Jackson, his 21-day practice window was opened just a week ago when he's trying to return from IR, and it sounds like he will be back on the football field this week. That was the expectation, but it is just getting confirmed, saying that he's going to progress with aggressive temperance. Mike McDaniel, is there anyone who uses phrases that make no sense but make a lot of sense at the same time? I don't know. But here is the truth of the matter. If he is healthy enough to play, which it sounds like he will be, you got to play him. Miami needs to use the final 6 games of the season to evaluate him and his long-term future with this team. We've talked about it a lot over the last week and a half, but he is under contract for only one more year in 2026. And yeah, he's owed a lot of money, so it's kind of hard to cut him and save some cap, but you don't have a, let's say, marriage to him past next season. Heck, if you really wanted to move off of him, you could if you ultimately traded him or cut him post-June 1st. And with Larry Borom playing well, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, have speculated, well, is it even a good thing to bring him back? Yes, it is. But I also think Borom should get some reps at right guard over Cole Strange. But nonetheless, you need to play Austin Jackson if he's healthy. You need to evaluate him. He was obviously a former first-round pick. We'll see what happens with the rest of the season, but I do think it's important to get him on the football field ASAP. Make sure you follow me over on social media, whether it's on Instagram at Dolphins Today, IG is the handle, or on Twitter/X at Nick_Roloff is the handle there. I'm also going to follow the first 5 people back on Twitter who follow me today, so go give me a follow, and maybe you'll see me follow you back. More good news on Miami. Darren Waller, who was on IR with a pec injury, his 21-day practice window is going to be opened on Wednesday, according to Mike McDaniel. And Waller missed, obviously, the first 3 weeks of the year, returned in that game against the Jets on Monday Night Football, had 2 touchdowns. But overall, he was really, really good in the 3.5 games that he played before he suffered that pec injury. I mean, all of these numbers you see on screen practically were in the first 3 games because he got hurt relatively early in that game against the Cleveland Browns. He was an absolute weapon for Miami on third downs, and he was Tua's favorite target inside the red zone as well. And getting him back could absolutely elevate this offensive passing attack. I mean, how about this? Out of the NFL tight ends that qualified, and the qualifying metric was 10 targets, look at Darren Waller's ranks throughout the NFL this season. 8th in touchdowns, 16th in completion percentage when targeted, 19th in yards per route run, 2nd ADOT, and 5th in QB rating when targeted. The fact that Waller has been consistently a top 15 tight end in a lot of these metrics when he missed basically 60% of the season and only played in 3 games, that just shows you how real impactful he was for Miami in those games he was on the field. So I'm pretty excited to see Waller back on the court. I think it's going to be a massive help for this team and for this offense, especially in the red zone. But let me know, who are you most excited for? Austin Jackson or Darren Waller? Type AJ if it's Austin Jackson. Type DW if it is Darren Waller. Although I just laid out why I'm excited for Darren Waller to return, I do think the answer should be and has to be Austin Jackson. Not only for the reason I noted about the future in Miami, because he's under contract next year and you need to evaluate him, but there's another main reason why I think it's important that you have Austin Jackson back and you don't fall in love with maybe Waller returning so much. Why? Because the Dolphins' offense has been extremely well balanced over the last month when Darren Waller's missed time. Why do you ask that? Well, it's because they're playing 6 offensive linemen. We've had this 6 offensive lineman sets that have done so well. Daniel Brunskill coming in as an inline tight end. And it's really changed Miami's offense. We talked about it last Friday, but in the first 7 weeks of the season, Miami's offense, well, it was bottom 10 in the NFL. Pretty consensus, right? Like bottom 5 in EPA per play, EPA per dropback, success rate, rushing the football. But over the last 4 weeks, weeks 8 through 11, when they've started to have a lot more 6th O-line personnel, they're now a top 15 offense in the entire National Football League in every statistic. So you've seen a more well-balanced and a more successful Dolphins offense without Darren Waller because they're running these 6 O-line sets. So, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm happy Darren Waller is set to return in the next couple of weeks here, if not this Sunday against the Saints. But we cannot stray away from these 6 O-line sets that have been working wonders. It's helped the run game. It's helped Tua in the play-action game. Just because Waller's coming back, let's not completely abandon the 6 tight end or the 6 O-line with Daniel Brunskill as an inline tight end. We just can't abandon that. Keep on letting that roll. All right, today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's officially the holiday season, which means, you got bowl games. You've got basketball matchups, playoff pushes, all at once. And while you and I are making decisions on what gifts to buy, what to eat, you can always feel right somewhere, that being Prize Picks. I've had so much fun playing Prize Picks, whether it's picking more on Fantasy Score with Devon Achane, which has done pretty well this season. I just play so much, it makes watching it so much more fun. And new feature alert, Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Hey, if your fantasy season is over, guess what? You can still get in on the action every single week with Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Links in the description and comments of today's video. All right, so we talked about the good news with Waller returning, Austin Jackson returning. Let's talk about the bad news. Mike McDaniel said today that he does not know if James Daniels is going to return this season. Can't definitively answer one way or the other. If you need a reminder, he suffered a pec injury in week 1 against the Colts and has been on IR ever since. But my question is, how in the world is this possible? Seriously. He was placed on IR, and if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Coop, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but did we not do a video when he was placed on IR on Mike McDaniel saying that he was probably going to be missing closer to the 4-week mark than anyone else? Coop shaking his head, yes. He even noted that I think they didn't even know if they were going to have to put him on IR. And now he's out for 10 weeks plus, and we don't even know if he's going to play this season? How is that possible? How in the world is that even possible? I don't want to keep on using that same phrase, but seriously, only in Miami does the prize signing in NFL free agency play 4 snaps, get hurt, the coach say he's only going to miss probably about 4 or 5 games, and then he just never returns. Only in Miami. And we have you covered with everything you need to know, so hit that sub button to stay locked in the latest around Miami, whether it's news, rumors, injury notes. We'll have you covered all the time, so hit that sub button. We're talking about a guy here that might ultimately, not actually really get into the action. Seriously. He's not going to play, but he has a lot of money owed his way over the next 3 years. A lot of money. And that's not something that makes me feel very good. Not at all, actually. So it makes me nervous. Will he ever play? I don't know. You signed him to a 3-year, $24 million deal this offseason. We were excited about that because it's we're adding an addition. We're finally investing into the right guard. But will he ever play? I don't know if that's the case. All right, we'll round it out on some good news here. Jason Sanders is getting closer to a return for Miami. The kicker who has been so rock solid for the Fins just hasn't played this season. And McDaniel said he's close to returning. Now, if I'll be honest, I gotta just be saying this outright. I'll keep him out. I don't think I really need him to ultimately return this season because Riley Patterson has been pretty damn good for the Miami Dolphins. He's only missed 1 extra point this season, missed 2 field goals, 1 within 30 yards, and 1 was from 56. But he's 9 for 9 in between 40 and 49 yards this year. I don't think not having Jason Sanders has held Miami back, and I don't think I'm just here spamming the table to try to get Jason Sanders back on the field. I know if he's healthy, you're probably going to bring him back because you're paying him way more than Riley Patterson. So you're like, well, might as well get some return on investment there. But I'm not sweating it. I'm not rushing him back. Patterson's been really, really good. But let me know your thoughts. Would you hold Jason Sanders out? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let me know your thoughts. And the last note of the day, Andrew Meyer. His window to practice will be opening sometime soon. He has been on the IR/PUP, whatever you want to say, before the season. He was slotted to be the backup center for Miami. Well, he's going to be back relatively soon. And this would mean Keon Smith would be cut, by the way, just showing that. Like, Smith was only on this roster at the 53-man cutdown date because that Meyer was placed on IR on PUP like Liam Eichenberg. So if Keon Smith is gone, well, or if Andrew Meyer's here, Keon Smith would be gone. So that's going to be it for today's news. If you want more, follow me over on Twitter, Dolphins Today IG, or at Nick_Off on Twitter. Go give me a follow right now.